Well, good evening, everyone, and it's wonderful to have all of you here today. Civil aviation in India is booming. It's one of the fastest growing industries in India. It's one of the fastest growing markets anywhere in the world. The rate at which India has been acquiring civilian aircraft, airlines such as Indigo acquire a new aircraft once every week, gives you an idea of the potential that actually exists in the Indian market. The Minister Mohan Naidu is a young, and I must say extremely talented minister dealing with one of the most challenging parts of the Indian economy. He has to look after the economics of it all. He has to look after safety as well. It's been a challenging year, but also one that points to lots of opportunities. So let's talk about the larger India story first in civil aviation. How do you see it expanding to becoming, let's say, top 3 in the world?
To start with, I have to mention that India is already the third largest domestic civil aviation market. And if you consider the international traveling also, we are the 5th. And very soon we are going to be the 3rd internationally also. And the reason that I say is the kind of numbers at which we are growing. The last 10 years itself, even though we had a situation of COVID, where the direct impact has been on aviation itself. A strong blow not only for domestic aviation in the country, but internationally. And it went to the point where many of the airlines also had to shut this shop. But we have crossed through COVID. We have achieved numbers where we have crossed the numbers, pre-COVID numbers also in terms of passengers flying. And today we are sitting at 250 million passengers in 2025. And year on year, we are seeing at least 10% growth in the amount of passengers that are coming into our air travel network. And then if you look at our airports, the number of airports have also increased from 74 in 2014 to 164. And it's a continuous process for us where we are trying to build 50 more airports in the next 5 years and achieve up to 350 up to 2047, the year 2047. And if you look at the aircrafts, you've already mentioned that we have great orders. We have up to 1,700 orders right now. And we are expecting in the next 15 years of them to be delivered. And this year in 2026, we are going to see 106 aircrafts coming in. So these are all numbers which indicate that there is a strong demand that is there. And it is continuously going to grow for the next 20 to 25 years. So considering number 3, I would say that we have a great opportunity to cross those numbers also. Because India is aspiring today. There is an ambition, strong ambition at a larger population, not only people who are just presented with the opportunities, but at a large scale, people are aspiring to do much greater things. And in that aspiration, aviation becomes a strong story for them to kickstart their process.
Right.
And today, the people, I've talked about it in one of the sessions also, on how people who are coming from the rural areas, people who are coming from probably tier 3 cities, they have all become so comfortable with air travel today. Right. At one point of time, there was a lot of anxiety, there was a lot of nervousness, and they always felt that air travel is probably a exclusive way of traveling. It's only for the elite group, or it was only for a certain class of people. Yeah. But thanks to our Honorable Prime Minister and the vision that he had, he always had this mantra with him, which is Hawai Chappal se Hawai Jahaj ka safar. And I can proudly say that to an extent we have made it a reality. Yeah. 5 lakh people every day are traveling in the country by air.
No, it's absolutely incredible. It poses a challenge to the railways as well. But I must ask you, it's been a difficult year, and let's face it, safety has been a primary concern. We've had a horrific incident with Air India, AI-171. Indigo saw a system which some would suggest was overstretched at the level of the airline. But again, safety is your primary concern, more than economics. And you have undertaken a series of steps to ensure, number 1, flight duty time limitations. Pilots and crew are not stressed out. How critical is it for us to ensure safety given the pace at which we are expanding?
It is not only critical, there shouldn't be any compromise when it comes to safety. And that is the attitude that we keep in civil aviation and the regulation that we do. Safety is of the topmost priority. No matter what we do, we talk about numbers, we talk about passengers, we talk about money, we talk about airports. Whatever we do is secondary. Safety and a secure way of traveling is the top priority. And these are the foundations and the pillars on which you have to build your civil aviation network. And that has been the priority. Based on that itself, we have been taking a lot of reforms. We want to ensure that the crew, that the pilots and all the people and the staff that are involved, they are adequately de-stressed, or their conditions of work conditions are all up to the global standards and up to the standards with which they have to be treated. And when I say that the challenges also, I just want to go back to the point that the nature of sector has changed. And simply being put as, from exclusive, we have become a very inclusive. More and more people are becoming comfortable traveling through air. And it's come to the point, if you look at many of the airports today, you find all classes of people coming in. So when the network is growing at such a scale, then obviously the regulation should follow. In fact, it has to be going hand in hand. And that is one thing that we are proactively looking into it. Because as the numbers are growing, there has to be some changes in the policy also. And that is exactly how the airports should be for the future. So here, one policy reform that we are trying to bring is that, see, when you talk about airports, it's always these mega structures that you're trying to build, long runways, huge terminals, and huge infrastructure capacity that you want to build. But that's not the way forward for us. What we are saying, see, we'll have the mega airports, which are metropolitan city airports. These are going to be the hubs. And then when you want to create the connectivity across the country, have medium airports, have smaller airports, have the spokes. So you don't need a big airport everywhere. You have to have club all these things. And likewise, when it comes to pilots, then we have changed the FDTL norms. Yeah. So each and every vertical that is there in aviation, according to the growth story that India is witnessing, and it's going to witness in the future also, proper policy making has to be done, and at regular intervals. So we are pacing ourselves in that manner.
Let me ask you a tough question. It's tough because it concerns safety, and a big one, AI 171. The final crash report is still awaited. Firstly, why is it taking so long, broadly speaking? How soon will it be out? And secondly, how do you respond to reports which are appearing in the Western media that there have been fundamental differences between, let us say, our Accident Investigation Board and the NTSB, the American regulator, on the words to be used in the final report? I mean, that's what's been reported.
It's a very sensitive issue, what we are talking about here. And the first thing that I want to mention regarding the report itself is, there is Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, which has been purely set up by the government of India under the Ministry of Civil Aviation, so that it can look into the aspect of an accident or an incident that happens in civil aviation. And where does this come from? This comes from the ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization, which proposes that all the countries where there is civil aviation network, you need to have a separate body which looks into it. A body which is independent, a body which has to follow a certain guideline, certain rules. These are not rules which India is setting up. These are international civil aviation rules. And when it comes to this incident, I also want to remind the people who are following this up that there are multinationals involved in this. There are people from UK, there are people from Canada also in this. So when it is different countries also involved, it is much more important for us that we follow strict protocols, the guidelines that have been set when these accidents happen. It was very devastating that it has happened in our country. But likewise, let us say that it would have happened in any other country. It is the same process that they follow. And there has to be a way of dealing with these accidents. And because you can't hurry on these reports. And as a matter of fact...
So when will it be out?
As a matter of fact, why I say that you can't hurry on these reports is that there is a certain procedure. And unless you are 100% sure that whatever you write in the report or whatever you are indicating that in the report, you are 100% sure and you have scientifically arrived at that conclusion, and you have whatever ways there are there to investigate, to look at it, to identify. Unless you have followed the due process, you shouldn't be putting it on the report, because it has a lot of complications also, it has consequences also. So that is why it is the process that is taking its time. It is not that there is a strict stipulated time that we want to. You can't rush these people to do this investigation and testings and all. They are following the due process. Whatever resources they need, we are trying to provide it to them. Whatever additional support they need, we are trying to provide it to them. But the investigation is following a due process, which is internationally set. And the reason I say that it is internationally set is because of the involvement of others, and it can be challenged by anyone internationally also, because these are countries and their citizens also involved.
Yes.
So it puts a lot of pressure on us also, in the sense that we have to be very, very thorough. Tomorrow, I don't want anyone contesting this report and saying that we have not done it properly. So it is our responsibility that we follow the process.
So it'll be 100% transparent report based on the best forensic examination, and whichever examination is required.
I think you have put it very well.
I think that's what people are worried. That why is it taking so much time? Is India trying to not perhaps to softball the entire thing?
There are
theories, all sorts of theories.
I can't see regarding the theories. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and I'm seeing in the last 1 year, lot of these experts have come in aviation, and everyone has their own theory, everyone has their own story behind what they are saying. But we have a process, we have rules, we have guidelines, and that is where I'm looking at it. And we want to be very, very responsible, very, very transparent, and very, very thorough. And this is the angle that we are looking at it, and we will stick to it. There won't be any pressure on us that will make us move from this kind of position. We are very, very strict and adamant that we are going to follow this process.
Excellent. And that really helps send a very strong message. Second question, indirectly safety related, the number of pilots. We are growing at a speed in which we don't have enough pilots. We have junior pilots who need to become senior. We need to bring in junior pilots and ensure that they operate at the safest levels possible. Will Indigo or any other airline be able to induct pilots at the rate that is required for them to ensure that flight duty time limitations are met? I ask because Indigo was given a one-time dispensation that you can expand, you curtail the number of flights, but after February you have to ensure that you have pilots in place. Where will they get the pilots?
Again, an interesting question. One thing is that we have, I feel, adequate number of pilots. But the challenge here is getting them trained to be sitting in that specific plane. If you are flying an Airbus 320, then you need to have the type rating for that plane. If you are flying another kind of machine, then you need to be aptly trained in that plane. So the amount of hours it takes for them to actually get trained on that plane and be on the simulator, get the type rating, and if possible, if when they are becoming the captain in charge, then how many hours he has to do. That definitely, that whole concept requires a certain kind of work that needs to be done by the airlines also. And it is the responsibility of airlines. See, if I'm the airline, if I'm running 10 planes, how many pilots do I need? How do I get them inducted? It is the airline's responsibility. The government is setting the rules and the guidelines that if you want to have a pilot, then how much time should he be rested, and how do you want to utilize him? And proactively, what we are trying to do from the government is have more FTOs opened up. Training institutions which the pilots, which become the institutions to train the pilots. And after I've come, I've given permission for at least 8. And there is a lot more interest. And I'm also kind of creating that story that India needs more pilots, because imagine 1,700 planes coming in the next 15 years. And each plane roughly needs about 15 to 20 more pilots. Then how much are you creating, the demand that is being created? So you need to train your pilots at that pace. And coming to this very specific situation of can Indigo reach it or not, I don't think it is an impossible task. But it has to be dealt with in the right manner, more than looking at the economics of it. See, if you want to run your operations at that level, then you have to follow the FDTL, and you have to have that adequate number of pilots. Yeah. If not, we have had the 10% curtailment of operations for now. Yeah. And I am using it as another advantage, where this 10% curtailment of routes that we have done, we want to promote other airlines also. Is that not what we want?
Yeah, we want more airlines to prevent a duopoly or whatever it is. You are also looking for new routes because, we have been victims of terrorism. We've had Op Sindoor. Airspace over Pakistan is closed. We have no desire of operating there presently, and they've shut it down for us. That has impacted long-range routes. We've been in talks with China, for example, to fly east through Chinese airspace. Is that progressing?
This is what it is with Civil Aviation Ministry. I was very excited when I've taken this ministry also, and slowly I got to know that this is a 24/7 ministry.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are these bigger ministries, much more influential ministries, can come to office at 9 o'clock, open your files, close your files at 5 o'clock, go home and then open it back the next day. But for us, you see something happening as simple as a volcano getting erupted in Ethiopia. civil aviation operations are in India are affected.
Yes.
Other than the major incidents like the terrorism or geopolitical issues or other kind of incidents. But all these challenges, I think, see, one, we from the ministry try to actively do what is necessary. It is not like we just leave it to chance and see. Every single time, even if it is just one single plane that gets affected, and then we have the weather challenges also. Yeah. Northern part of India, we have fog. Yeah. So all these kind of challenges. So whenever we see some kind of incident being happening or some disruptions happening or some kind of effect on civil aviation, we proactively try to meet with all the stakeholders and ensure that one, safety again is the topmost priority. We always suggest that when there is these kind of situations, the call has to be that there is no compromise on safety. Correct. That is the first thing. And if we are able to run the plane, if we are able to run the route, then the convenience for the passengers should be the minimum. So this is a very conscious effort that we keep continuously put in. And when we keep doing it day in and day out, it becomes a learning experience for us. And from that, there are many multiple ideas which come, which we can integrate in the policy making. So we are actively following up on this issue. It's a good learning experience.
Is it going to happen since we can't fly over Pakistan?
Exactly. Regarding the new routes also, so we have had a learning on this, on how do we look for alternate routes. So one idea that we had is that because the Pakistan airspace is closed, can we have another station, another hub in Gujarat? Probably near Dholera or Hirasar Rajkot, so that if we can improve the traffic control operations there, we can reroute the planes via that station and keep the effect to the minimum. And there is another interesting option that we are exploring, which is to take it higher up into the Himalayas and then
across China.
Across, yes.
That's what I was sort of pushing you at.
You don't want to say it.
You aren't giving me any answers on that.
You wanted me to say it. So we are exploring other routes. Like I've said, that whenever these issues come, we are looking at proactively in solutions, and we actively engage with all the stakeholders, and we kind of become that facilitator.
Sure.
Regulator is a priority responsibility for us, but we facilitate in those situations.
So a final question, since I know you've got other commitments as well. Mission Udan is very important because it connects smaller airports across India. Then the helicopter operations, which has not realized its potential in the civilian sector in India. Why is that the case?
I accept that there is still a lot more to do in the helicopter operations, but for one reason is that the primary focus has been on the civil operations, the regular aircraft operations. And for good reasons also. You're seeing that sector grow at 10 to 12%, so you had to put all the resources, all the focus, all the efforts into that. But for the past 18 months, actively looking into promoting helicopters. See, earlier in the ministry also, there was a directory of rotary wing, which was handling the fixed wing. Directory of fixed wing, which was operating the rotary wing also. So we separated it. We said helicopters need to have their own directorate. So after me coming, I've created another directorate for helicopter operations. We have had a digital platform called Heli Seva, where the permissions required for these heli operations become much more easier. And on top of that, the Udan that you have mentioned, it has given us a great leverage to improve the helicopter operations. And one example that I want to take is the Char Dham operations, which is like a shuttle service. Yeah. Day in and day out, they are doing excellent operations, like at a huge number. Now we have seen that this is a model which is very viable. Yeah. A model which can be done on a large scale. So once we have seen the learnings of the Char Dham, now in the Udan, which we are extending it for 10 more years. And it's going to be a great advantage for us. I've been talking to some people from Brazil also, and they have been closely studying Udan, and they are saying that in our regional connectivity, we want to do something like this. It's a great learning for us. Yeah. So that is the kind of impact Udan has brought to regional connectivity. Yeah. And now this Udan scheme, including with the helicopter operations and learnings from the Char Dham operations, we want to replicate it in the Northeast. Yeah. We want to replicate it in the Himalayan regions, the difficult regions, aspirational districts. Yeah. So this is something which you are going to actively see in this. And one small thing is the addition that I want to push. We haven't touched upon it, but see, main focus becomes upon the travel. But civil aviation contains many more modules. One important thing that I want to concentrate upon is manufacturing sector. We have so much demand. I'm saying 1,700 planes. All these planes are coming from outside. We have to either buy from Airbus, we have to buy from Boeing. Why can't we build our own plane?
So with the Russians and the Sukhoi Superjet,
Yes.
are you building it in India?
Yes, yes.
Are you
we
sure it's going to
really-
work out?
It has to work out. We are putting all the efforts to make it work. It's a great advantage that the technology from them is coming to India right now. And they are partnering up with Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, which is also an organization which carries deep expertise in this area. And the other thing is Adani also tying up with Embraer.
Right.
Embraer has a good history and the planes are becoming more efficient, more wanted in the civil aviation sector. And they are coming in. And very soon we are going to announce the assembly line of them in India also, which is going to be a great addition.
Yeah.
On top of this, we want the Indian companies also to dig deeper into this manufacturing opportunity that is there. And the ultimate objective is to, from scratch, make our own plane, which is good for our regional connectivity also. So this is something which you are strongly doing. In that side, a small stride that we have done it, because I've recently attended the event also, HAL, because they are so strongly, deeply involved into making these military helicopters and all that. We sat with them, we said,
Push the civilian
you're
market.
doing so much for military, please look at civil operations also. You just do some minor changes and you comply to some minor guidelines, then we can have it for civil aviation, civil operations also.
Right.
And for the first time, their engine has been, the engine that they've manufactured has been civil
Shakti engine.
operations
Yeah, they've got a variation of
certified.
that. Absolutely.
And now it's under the process of being tested.
Yeah.
And I think within 2 more months, we will have the first helicopter which has been manufactured in India, which is certified for civil operations. So
That's
once we start
absolutely
that,
brilliant. Yeah.
once we start that, I think this is becoming a foundation for having more machines. You know, first of all, it starts with the confidence. Can we do it or not? Yes, yes, yes. If we answer with that, then things will follow.
Well, there you have it. He is completely, totally, 100% transparent. He talks about the future of aviation in India. For those of you who haven't come to India of late, I can assure you that the quality of air travel in India,
I have to provide
by
connectivity
and
to them.
large, is actually quite extraordinary. The quality of our airports, the connectivity that we are seeing, and the gradual move away from, let's say, the Middle East, the United Arab Emirates, or one of those countries being a hub. The hub can very much be Bombay or Delhi or Bangalore or even Hyderabad. We leave it there. Thank you, sir, very much.
Thank you,
for being
Vishnu.
with us.
Thank you so much.